And I know what you're thinking. It's the hazy daisy days of summer. We're getting ready for Garth Brooks coming in. Of course, Garth Brooks will be here next week. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Garth Brooks for free by stopping by Independence Indoor Shooting in Meridian, Idaho. That will be coming up tomorrow. We will be there. So whether you like the Second Amendment, which we hope you do, whether you like this program, which we really, really hope you do, we would love to see you in Meridian, Idaho at Independence Indoor Shooting. Come by, shoot, have a good time, talk about the Second Amendment and other issues of note. We would hope to see you there, and you can register to win a pair of Garth Brooks tickets, courtesy of KIDO Talk Radio and The Kevin Miller Show. So, school is a long way away. Now, there are some year-round schools. There are some private schools. There are some homeschooling that never stops. And, of course, there are charter schools. And sometimes in the state of Idaho, people wonder how effective are charter schools. As you know, thanks to CapEd Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru, and maybe you don't know, we go to 20 schools a year, the most active show, I would say, in the nation when it comes to supporting education, supporting local charities. And we hear about what's going on, whether it's private, parochial, charter, homeschools, whatever it is. We want to support education because that's our future. And over the years, if you're new to the state of Idaho, you might not know, there have been some issues concerning charter education, both pro and con, concerning the state supporting charter schools. With us now to learn all about the latest in charter and public and private and education is Tom LeClaire. He is the president of the Coalition for Idaho Charter School Families. Good morning, Mr. LeClaire.
Good morning, Kevin. It's good to be with you today.
Well, thank you very much. So what is the state of public and charter education, both one and the same here in the Gem State?
Well, it's pretty good. We have we have a lot of choices for parents in Idaho. We're proud of the charter school laws that we have, and the many parents and teachers and administrators that are wrapped up in our charter school movement in Idaho. And so we're pretty pleased with that. That Idaho passed its charter school law in 1999, so we've had about 20 years of experience now. In 2014, a law went in to change the charter schools and provide the Charter School Commission with more authority to do a regulatory framework for charter schools on top of all their approval process and renewal process, and it gave them a new auditing authority for charter schools. And so they have more power than in the last few years than they used to have. And so they're kind of learning their way. We heard in April there was a meeting that became a closed-door executive session. And the Charter School Commission staff, we heard, said some things very negative about Jerome, Idaho, and the charter school there and the traditional school system in Jerome. And you know, we were concerned about that, but as charter school parents, we thought it was kind of an isolated thing. But the folks that were, you know, very concerned about it in Jerome got a Freedom of Information Act request.
Sure, and we can, hold on, we can get to that. But hold on, Mr. LeClaire, Mr. LeClaire, that's great. We'll get to that. But if we could just stick to the overall questions before we go down the rabbit hole, that would be great. So,
fine.
No worries. Charter education, for people that aren't familiar with it, and again, you feel very passionately about it. Everyone else feels very passionately about it. There is a lot demanded of it as opposed to a different kind of obligation when it comes to a brick and mortar school. What is the difference? Because I don't think a lot of people understand the demands of a charter school as opposed to a regular school. You've got a board, you've got to make payments. It's a unique challenge that a lot of people may or may not know about, sir.
That's very true, and there's a variety of them, and they've been authorized in different ways. There's about 60 charter schools in Idaho, serving about, I think, 36,000 students, and it's a unique animal in almost every case. Some of them are online schools where the teachers teach in sessions that are on the internet that the students log into and interact with the teacher that way. There's brick and mortar charter schools that are more traditional, but there's all sorts of different designs there too. There's Waldorf school, Harbor Method School. There's a variety of them, and so the idea is that there's choices for parents to fit their students' growth in education and their students' ability to excel. And these are great options that we have for our charter schools in Idaho.
Sure, but a lot of people don't understand that, you have to get loans, you have to make payments. There have been charter schools in the past in the state that have been in trouble, that's been highly publicized. You've had people, holding fundraisers. You don't see that in your typical public education. That's the question that I have for you. How does that work?
Yeah, that's true. It's there's varying levels of enrollment size and the ability to raise money for these kind of schools is much more limited than it is for a charter school that has access to property taxes and such. The charter schools don't have those advantages, and so they have more challenges to manage their schools. And they're also, I think, they understand that their enrollment is critical, and so their attention to parents is at a high level. There have been surveys we've seen where parents have been asked, have you heard from your student's teacher this many times a month? Have you heard from your parents, your school's principal this many times a month? And what's your satisfaction level? And we always see higher scores for charter school parents when it comes to respond from their school administrators and teachers than we see in the traditional environment as well.
Sure. Tom LeClaire joining us, Coalition of Idaho Charter School Families. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. So back to this situation in Jerome, Freedom of Information Act. What's the skinny on this, sir?
All right. Well, this has been a real, it's kind of upsetting to the whole community of charter school parents and the schools themselves. This meeting was supposed to be to analyze student data from 2 schools. The meeting went on for 2 hours, and it got kind of gossipy. And they went over. They finished the 2 schools, went on to 7 more, and then they talked about virtual schools. So they ended up talking about 15 schools and how the commission staff has been frustrated and disappointed in the performance of these schools. And it was just when we heard the whole recorded session, it was really upsetting for us. Almost line by line, things were said about schools that were unfair and wrong. And the commission staff is trying to create an environment, a political environment that is prepared for some revoking of some charter school charters. So again, this is another thing that's always a threat to the charter schools that the traditional schools don't face. And that's this idea that if you don't comply with the management and academic standards and regulations that this charter school commission puts out, then there's a threat that your charter can be revoked and your school will be closed. And so this is a really a serious threat for them to be offering to so many of the charter schools. And so it was alarming to see them talking in this way about how they perceive their job is to continue to increase the management oversight to a point that some of these schools can't comply with the demands that they're being given, and then the commission moves to close a charter school or two. And so, we disagree with the framework that they're basing those decisions on, and have for a long time. We've testified before them before, and they're setting up some of our schools to fail, and it's not fair. It's not.
Sure. So, Mr. Clair, we've got to run here, but what would you like people to do?
Well, what I would like them to do is contact, if you like school choice, we want a charter school commission that treats charter schools fairly. We want them to be understanding that Idaho supports school choice. We want to express that those of your listeners who are excited about charter schools, we'd like them to contact their legislators, contact the governor, the State Board of Education, and charter school commission members, and let them know that this is a big deal, and the most important determining factor in what should keep these schools open is whether they're supported by their constituencies, whether the parents and the students that are in those schools are growing and benefiting and improving their education.
All right, Mr. Clair, we appreciate that. You have a great day. Thank you very much. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Last night on the ESPYs, and I don't know how many people really watched the ESPYs. And by the way, we want to thank Mr. Clair for joining us. I do appreciate his passion for charter and all sorts of education. Last night on the ESPYs, we had Drew Brees with his wife and his 3 sons talking about the women's soccer team and how he was so excited how they represented America.
To meet some of their heroes, their role models, the guys and girls that they look up to, who play every sport you can imagine. My boys are sports junkies. They watch it all, they play it all. No better treat than, as we're walking out of the hotel, to meet Zion Williamson. Zion, congratulations. Welcome to New Orleans. The city's ready for you, man. Saquon Barkley, unbelievable to watch you play. My boys love you. Thanks for setting the example that you're setting. Patrick, my boys want to come over and say hello to you here in a little bit at the commercial break. Hope you don't mind. Odell, you'll always be one of my oldest son's favorite players. And how about the U.S. women's national team? I'm not sure if they're in the building yet, but I just want you all to know how much fun you've made these last couple weeks, having the chance to watch you each and every step of the way. Your commitment to the game, your love and respect for the game, the way that you represent our country, the way that you...
Now, wait a minute. The way that you represent our country. Now, again, women, this is the dog days of summer. This is one of the slowest times of year. Donald Trump is going to send people out to be deported next week. We'll get to that. But for entertainment purposes only, and to try to salvage you, all of you that tuned out in that last segment, let me just say this to you at 580-5436. Kevin Miller here on KIDO Talk Radio. Let me just say this to you. Are the women's soccer team players role models when they say these things about the White House, when they mock other countries, when they roll around and show off their derrieres as if anybody wants to look at their derrieres, when they're promoting their lifestyle that happens to be, you have Megan Rapinoe. She's a same-sex young lady, a lesbian, and all about that, and saying we're going to do this and we're going to do that and making fun of America, trampling on the flag. Drew Brees, you're a great guy. You're a role model. When Hurricane Katrina happened, Drew Brees went to New Orleans, He had just been signed there. He spent a lot of his own money, which these athletes never do, and really has become a great community partner. Like our friend Dee Sarton, like Carolyn Holly, like Larry Gebert. These people that give and give and give to the community. I don't see the soccer team doing this. And by the way, this is a tough one because I don't think a lot of people care about them. But we've got to answer this message. They're not role models, in my opinion, when you disrespect the country, when you stomp on the flag. And now you have Chuck Schumer inviting them to the Senate and they're going to go. That's not the message we want to send to young people, is it? Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
ICE agents will start knocking on doors this Sunday in at least 10 cities as the Trump administration starts to carry out raids on illegal immigrants. The New York Times reports the agency is targeting about 2,000 people who have been under orders of deportation. Due to space constraints, some might be temporarily housed in hotels until they can be removed from the country. President Trump threatened to begin the raids last month, but agreed to postpone and give congressional Democrats more time to work on changing immigration laws. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
Thank you, Rachel. Kevin Miller in the morning, 580-5436. 580-KIDO. You know, on my way in this morning, as I was listening to Gordon Deal and George Norrie and everybody else, I was thinking to myself, when are the ICE raids going to start? You know, the president promised them we're going to round them up and send them back. You can't say that in America today. That's very offensive. It's the truth, isn't it? We're going to round them up and send them back. Now I'm glad that he's announced that the ICE raids will start. It will give the devious little libs something else to be angry about. You ever notice, and maybe that's the challenge with conservatives, we're troubled by the continued effort to marginalize us by the devious little libs and their media partners. But conservatives have lives. I've always marveled at people that are conservatives that run for office because they have a life. They're successful. You look at Barack Obama. What was he? I'm a community organizer. Well, also a constitutional attorney that was still trying to pay off his student loans. I guess he doesn't have that problem anymore. You look at Donald Trump. He had a life. He had an empire. Very different. Very, very different. Coming up, we are going to talk a little bit about the ICE raids. And I think it's a great thing. First, KIDO Talk Radio, traffic and weather together with Kevin Miller in the morning. Our time is 6:27. Good morning, Dave. So, hey, coming up, I know I've teased you. I know I said a few things, but I want to get your thoughts on this. You're going, Kevin Miller, I don't even know who Megan Rapinoe is. I don't know who the women's soccer team is. Well, then good. We've got another topic for you. And if you're a newsie, if you're a person that is informed, you already know the answer to this question. One state now has officially given illegal aliens free health insurance. And if you don't know, I bet you can guess, right? So coming up, we're going to hear what Drew Brees has to say. We heard a little of it, how they're great role models. Come on, Drew Brees. You can't believe that. Why do you pander to be politically correct, Drew Brees? It's tough to even criticize Drew Brees, the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, because he's such an all-American dude. So we'll do that one, the ICE raids, and what state is giving the illegals free health insurance? Why can't we do that for everybody? How about Americans first? Now, that's something I think we can all agree on. Americans first when it comes to free health insurance. But as you know, dear friend, nothing is ever free. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. Rolling on the right side. Thank you for joining us. So let's get back to Drew Brees, a decorated young man, family guy. Probably could be the governor of Louisiana, maybe a senator one day, quarterback now for the New Orleans Saints. At the ESPN Awards called the ESPYs, saying this about the U.S. women's soccer team.
The way that you represent our country, the way that you love one another, compete with one another, play as a team, you all are inspiring. Congratulations on your accomplishment, and know how much you inspire us all.
Right. Of course, the classless U.S. women's soccer team. And this is a tough one because it's all about female empowerment these days. I will tell you that this program has been changed radically to be more respectful of all people. You know, we just don't go on the air and try and provoke people like we did 25 years ago when this program began. today it's a little tougher. Got to use humor. Got to use challenge. Of course, the mornings is the toughest place because you're in your car going, dude, quit babbling about the U.S. women's soccer team. Give me something to talk about. I get it. I totally understand that. But the point being that these young ladies were expected to win. We have the most resources. They politicized it by going after the president. And then they claim to be victims because they don't make as much money as the men. They're never going to make as much money as the men. And then you have people saying, well, men's sports are here, women's sports are here. Life is not equal, right? Life is not equal. So last night we have the liberal wacky zany tour where we have Megan Rapinoe on Rachel Maddow. And Rachel Maddow says because Megan Rapinoe has purple hair, wears baggy shorts, and can kick a ball through a net, that she should run for president. I'm not kidding.
Calm, more capable, more eloquent than ever, and it seems like that gets better over time. And so that makes me want you to do this forever. I mean, obviously I want you to do this forever as a fan, but I also feel like you're really good at talking when you need to talk and saying things that need to be said. And I wonder how... Boy,
that's very profound. You're very good at talking and saying things when things need to be said. You ever... And I mean, I'm sure this happens to a lot of people, and we're all human. We're all human. You're talking to somebody, and they're just talking to you like, dooby-dooby-dooby-dooby-doo. Kind of like Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. That tune-out factor. Blessed are the people that give us the attention that we crave, the affirmation that we seek, right? I don't know, and I won't say this, and I know what you're thinking. Rachel Maddow, she has an affinity for females. Megan Rapinoe, I believe her girlfriend is Sue Bird of one of those basketball teams in Seattle. No, I'm not going there. That would be the low-hanging fruit. But she does seem to have no, I'm not going to say she has a crush. I'm just going to say she's very gushing. And you can do that. You can be a fan of somebody's without having any type of connection.
Deliberately you've approached that, or if it's just a process of maturing?
I think a little bit of both. I try to be as educated as I can. I think that helps when you get in front of the camera and you're in a moment and you're like, what the hell am I supposed to say? So I try to keep up with things, watch the Rachel Maddow show, of course, keep myself woke.
As I mentioned.
Keep myself woke. Now, again, this is Rachel Maddow. This is Megan Rapinoe. And by the way, they had the big ticker tape parade for them. You might have heard Tanya J. Powers talking about it earlier. So to show what type of class this person is, and by the way, we all, except for Patriot Ray, we all swear, right? Swearing is not good, and if you don't swear, you are such a better person than the rest of us fatally flawed human beings. So at this moment, at the highest point of adoration, of glamour, she drops not an F-bomb, an MF-bomb. And we're supposed to hail her as a role model. Remember when Charles Barkley, years ago, and if you don't, you can Google the story, I'm not a role model. I don't believe that Megan Rapinoe is a role model based on her victimization and based on her politicizing this soccer thing. And now you hear that they're not going to go to the White House, but they would go hang out with AOC, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuckles Schumer. Now, if you don't want to go because you don't like Donald Trump, okay. But to go to the Senate or the House, that's just being cheap.
And I think you've shown incredible poise in terms of handling the attention that you've gotten and making sure that things are still on your own terms. I wonder if you have any thoughts about what comes next for you in terms of the kind of impact that you want to have, both on the sport and in the country. Public policy polling literally did a poll today.
Oh, no.
Which was you versus Trump in a presidential contest, and you beat him by a point. So, I mean, I don't think you're going to announce that you're running for president.
You know, this is the bizarro world that the media lives in. Everybody beats Trump. Everybody beats Trump. There's a dispute going on between Nancy Pelosi, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Cortez. I don't know if Omar's in on this one. And now they're going after Nancy Pelosi for being a racist, for not being a liberal. Look, I don't say this to divide. I really don't. But it shows you what the woke world has brought us, what the post-Obama media complex has brought us. Everyone's a racist. Nancy Pelosi, one of the most strident liberals in our lifetime, one of the most dominant political people, not only in California, but the country, is an example, whether you agree with her or not, of men, women, of somebody going to the highest stages of power, right? Third in line to be our president, gosh forbid. And now you have people saying because she's an older white woman, she can't criticize women of color because they're the base of the Democratic Party. Now, I always thought a political party was based on ideals, not ethnicity, right? But now they've turned on Nancy Pelosi because she's saying, look, zip it. All you're doing is helping President Trump, and we like it when the libs help President Trump. Now, the fact that, again, the media likes this Rapinoe, the media is creating this thing, the fact that she could beat President Trump, ridiculous.
In here, but what is ahead for you?
My girlfriend actually just said, she's like, you need to be careful. They're going to ask you to run for president. You need to slow your roll.
I'm not asking you to run, just suggesting that others are polling on it.
The same. People are saying it.
And there you have it. My girlfriend said to be careful. They're going to ask you to do this. Now, if Megan Rapinoe had not criticized the president, if they had not claimed to be victims at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, do you think that she'd be getting all this attention? And again, swearing, inappropriate behavior, and everything else. She's not a role model, in my opinion. Now, maybe you agree or disagree. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Like I said, I Nicole Wallace, all these media people saying that she's a superhero and chicken soup for the soul. Joining us now, best-selling author Liberty Linda. Good morning, madam. You're on the air, KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin. Oregon. The state is Oregon. And I was wondering what I win for that.
Well, I'm looking for the bell. This is
hold
on. The state is California.
No, it's Oregon.
Nope, it's California.
No way. I thought it was Oregon.
It's California that is giving free health insurance to the illegals. The first state in the country to do it.
I'm going to have to get after the news station I was listening to. They said Oregon.
Well, you don't need to be listening to the news station. You need to be listening to this station, the good one.
Oh, well, I know that every morning.
You know how.
I win your car. I don't win your car then.
You know how sensitive I get when I think that people are straying. You're not allowed. People aren't allowed to do anything else but listen to this program. And I'm just kidding, but you know that. You know how sensitive I am.
I can't listen to Fox News, huh? Okay.
Well, sometimes the big Fox, and we love Fox News. We love our affiliation with them, but, sometimes.
The difference is we hear truth on your show.
Well,
so let's go with your show.
Well, we hope so, because if not, there won't be a show.
And anyway, then California. Well, California, gives free everything to the illegals.
Yeah.
Nothing for the citizens, though. So, anyway, darn, I thought I won your car.
I didn't know I was giving up the car.
Thanks. I'd love to drive around with something that says KIDO on the side of it.
Well, that my picture. I'm sure you'd love to do that.
Yeah. And I believe after listening to Mr. Costa regarding the Jeffrey Epstein case, I believe that Mr. Costa was very credible.
Well, before we get to that, I'm gonna share with you this report from Fox News. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yes.
Right there. And again, let's hear this. Fox News on KIDO Talk Radio.
Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom just signed into law a bill that makes low-income adults ages 25 and younger eligible for the state's Medicaid program, regardless of their immigration status. Now, the law will not give health care benefits to everyone 25 years and younger, just those eligible because of their income level. Now, state officials expect that this will help about 90,000 people, and that will cost taxpayers about $98,000. California already covers children ages 18 and younger, regardless of their immigration status. Of course, advocates say this will help people of California. Some taxpayers, though, might say otherwise.
That's our own Tracy Caruso. So here we have it. Now, when you're in that age group, you don't make a lot of money to begin with. But if you're in the country illegally, why are we subsidizing? Why are we subsidizing these folks coming in?
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And if I move back to California, I'm thinking about running for mayor of San Diego. How about that?
Really?
Yeah.
Why San
And I have
Diego?
someone else that may run for governor. So, we could perhaps transform that state again back to what it was at one time.
Well, when you think of California, though, and I've been to California a couple times.
Beautiful.
Is it the most beautiful state?
Well, no. Growing up in California, I thought California was the only state in the union. But now I've moved to other states, and every state is important to the union. Every state is different, and I've loved every state that I've lived in. And, of course, I love Idaho. I love the people of Idaho are absolutely magnificent people.
Right.
That's what I would say. Beautiful. Idaho is just absolutely beautiful. There aren't words for Idaho. It's so beautiful. All the lakes and mountains. And then, of course, Kevin Miller is there.
Kevin Miller is there, and Kevin Miller will be here till the end of Kevin Miller.
And I don't swear, Kevin. I swear it.
I'm glad that you don't swear. That's one of us.
I try not. But California, then, okay. Then the first time in my life I was wrong. It wasn't Oregon. I thought it was. So.
Well, until we meet again, madam.
Yes, I agree. Thanks, Kevin. And I'm listening in. Boy, can't wait to hear the rest of your show.
Now, are you listening on the app or are you listening on the website?
On the website.
All right. Well, good for you. You can put us on your phone if you'd like.
Yeah. You can do anything today.
Liberty Linda, God bless you.
Bless you, Kevin. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Joining us now, our great friend, Ron Grant, the original Safer Money specialist. What's up, Big Ron?
Hey, buddy. How you doing? Good morning.
Not bad. Just talking about Idaho, California, the great country that is America. And you?
Yeah. Well, I came from California, and now I'm here in the Great Treasure Valley, enjoying the beautiful weather and the people and the surroundings. It's great.
Well, that is so important. When we come to Idaho, you, like me, we've come here from other places. It's so sacred, and it's all about working for folks and earning their trust each and every day. And people want to make sure that they keep their hard-earned money 100% safe, and that's where you come in.
I do. You and I have a show on every Saturday, and we're going to be there from 2 to 3. We're going to educate people on how to keep that money safe. Kevin, back in 2008, when the market tanked almost 50%, my clients and I, we got a zero. And, of course, a zero is always better than a loss. And we're going to show and educate people on how to keep that money safe.
Boy, how much of a challenge was that?
It's not really a challenge. We want to get them a reasonable range of return, number one. We want to get them a lifetime income. The top 1% of our nation gets income from multiple sources. Why wouldn't you? And then also we're going to stop them paying those pesky fees that they pay to their financial planner, their stockbroker, their 401k company. I don't do it I keep that safe. I don't risk money for myself. I don't do it for my clients either. I help them safe, keep it safe.
That's what it's all about. Now, Big Ron, what's your number if people want to get a hold of you?
Sure. Its local number is 208-660-1372. They can also email me, Ron, at safermoneyspecialist.com.
Well, we look forward to hearing what you have to say, and I look forward to yapping you this Saturday at 2.
I do too, buddy. I want you to have a wonderful day out there. It's gorgeous already outside.
It is. Can't wait to yap this Saturday at 2 on KIDO Talk Radio, the Safer Money Solution Show with Ron Grant. Ron, you have a great day, sir.
You too. Take care.
All right. There we have it. Ron Grant joining us. And remember, the Safer Money Solution Show every Saturday at 2 right here on your home for Hannity, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning on your home for Fox News on the radio, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.